Hey everyone, it's Angie and welcome to another video. This week I wanted to just show you a practice drawing I made using graphite pencils. I haven't used just graphite in quite some time and I've been wanting to use them lately, especially because I've been seeing a lot of drawings on Pinterest of people's sketchbooks and drawings of sculptures and stuff, and that really inspired me to create this. Also, I've been learning about how some old master artists would practice and learned drawing from sculptures and casts of humans, as well as using live models. And I actually never used sculptures and casts to practice in school, so I decided to give it a try. And so I looked up some photos of real sculptures and statues, and I chose this one because the lighting was interesting and the pose was simple enough. Nothing for shortened or at a crazy angle, so I thought it would be a good place to start. I also saw some videos on YouTube on how to draw sculptures and faces just to see how other artists go about doing them, and I found a couple of good videos, so I finally gave it a try and I really liked the result and I had fun with the process. I didn't show the sketch because I didn't think about recording this up until I finished the basic sketch. And I think it took a couple of tries getting the proportions the way I wanted and stuff. To tell you a bit about how I got here though, I did use the envelope method, and this is something I learned in school, and basically you just create like an outline of the overall shape or the area of the space that the subject will take up, and then from there you can sort of eyeball like the head size compared to the torso, and you kind of just use your pencil and measure the proportions and make corrections that way. So that's kind of how I got to putting in all the features of this sculpture. As for the materials I just used my tone gray sketchbook and my Prismacolor graphite pencils. Towards the end, I ended up using Faber-Castell matte pencils. I got them to try something new and created deeper, darker shadows. Especially since the paper is gray, I really wanted to create a bit of a dramatic effect. I never used a pencil like this before, and I really enjoyed playing with them and learning how to use them a bit. There wasn't much of a learning curve. Again, it's just kind of like a dark graphite pencil blend. And I started with the lightest tone in the set and then worked my way up to the darkest and slowly added pressure as well to create the deeper shadows. I also used a white Conte to create the highlights, and that's basically a bit of like a harder chalk type of material. I really liked using that in combination with the graphite because you can blend it with like a blending stump or your finger. And while I was at the store, I did try to find like a white graphite pencil thing, but I couldn't find one that wasn't in a set, so I just stuck with the white Conte I already had at home. I actually never heard of Conte before I was in school, and I had to order it as part of the material list for one of my classes, and even though we never ended up using it, I looked up more about it and I was able to use it like on my own time, and I try to use it when I can since I'm stuck with the material anyway. This was a really fun drawing, and I really liked the challenge of creating subtle shadows around her face. But I think the hardest thing was shading her hair and getting it just right, especially in the beginning. The way I go about creating these drawings as well is I kind of just slowly add more details and more shading throughout the overall piece instead of sticking to one zone at a time. The only time I do stick to certain zones is when I'm working at a more larger piece and it's like a painting or something like that, and even then I do like to try to like give everything a generally like the same amount of definition throughout. That way I can know if the drawing is coming together uniformly. When working on a pencil drawing like this, I think it's very important to pay attention to the subtle changes in the light and shadows. You want to notice where the brightest highlights are and the darkest shadows, and from there create the in-between tones with your pencil. I also think these subtle transitions can be hard to create because when drawing realistically, there are no harsh outlines, especially on the face, so to really make the face look 3D and more realistic, the shadows and transitions are very important. And some more materials that could help you with those smooth transitions are blending stumps, or maybe like a little cotton swab or a tissue, and then also using your kneaded eraser. For the harsher highlights that you really don't want any graphite on, you could use this mono zero eraser or like this really thin eraser. And of course, to make those highlights pop, I'm using the white Conte, but you could use like a white color pencil, or maybe even like a white pen or something, as long as it kind of has like harmony with the other materials as well, so that it looks nice. So I also got curious and looked up a bit of information about this statue and found that its title is Diana and it's in the National Gallery. It's by an artist named Jean-Antoine Hudson. He's a French artist who lived from 1741 to 1828, and he was in the French Enlightenment period and was famous for his portrait sculptures of philosophers and political figures, like Benjamin Franklin and George Washington. He also taught others in his own atelier, and his sculptures were even used as references for US postage stamps in the 20th century, particularly the one of George Washington. And I found that to be really cool, that even after his death, his art was still known in some ways and made its ways around the world. Anyway, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching until the end. I hope this video was helpful and entertaining to watch. Comment below if you have any questions about my art, or if you like this video, or if you simply just want to see more videos like this, let me know. Don't forget to check out my Instagram, where I post more photos of my artwork and what I'm currently up to. Until next time, bye!